Hey, what's up guys, Jack here from Magpie, and today I'm back with another album review. This week I'm going to be covering Moose Blood's I Don't Think I Can Do This Anymore. Now, Moose Blood are a band that exploded over the past 3 years with their debut bursting onto the scene, I'll Keep You In Mind from time to time, with this emo sound that had its bright moments and then had these huge sing-alongs. Pretty much every song could have been a single, and you see that in the live performances when the crowd sing along in rapturous fashion. And the Canterbury outfit have been constantly writing, touring and recording since then. The sophomore release Blush was met with a warm response, but it was nothing earth-shattering. And then you have the live set staples of Knuckles and Glow, and then you look at the shoegazy feel of Shimmer. It was a lot of promise behind it. The next release had me excited because they could have gone in so many different directions. And after 18 months, the band has returned with their latest album, I Don't Think I Can Do This Anymore. Straight off the bat, this album is nowhere near the quality I expect from a band who I know are capable of more. The overall sound has gone less emo and gone more alternative radio rock sounding, and the mid-tempo vibe really gets slow and boring very quickly. The songs are very basic in their structure, choruses and bridges are very predictable when there should be more than just that. The album starts off okay with the singles Have I Told You Enough and Talk in Your Sleep, but then the rest of the album really passes you by without anything standing out in particular. The final track, It's Too Much, is a reminder that Moose Blood have this emotional element that they can call upon, rather relying on their cliched lyrics of missing a loved one or relationships falling apart. The performances on this album are pretty bland, with bassist Carl coming up with some nice licks. You think of the track You're Worse For Me, which is ironically the shortest track, that has a really nice rhythm, and Carl really hammers that down. The guitars are repetitive, with the chord progression being quite basic. Again, there's some few nice solos, but it's predictable, nothing that's incredible, nothing that makes me go wow. The new addition of Lee Monday on drums seems like a sidestep, with nothing new being added from album to album. It could have been the same drummer the whole time. I'm talking about the drumming section. Glenn Harvey, the controversy surrounding him rightly should have been kicked out of the band. But I feel as if when you look at a band like Moose Blood and the controversy that surrounds them, then you need to add a lot more quality to get yourself back on the right side of the press and the fans and everyone else involved. I think the progression, or well, lack of progression, is very clear from album to album with Moose Blood. I'll Keep in mind with this great debut with some huge melodies and great sing-alongs and cultural references that kept it interesting and memorable. Blush was a step in the radio rock direction and was good in the short term. When you think about it, Moose Blood fans wanted more from the band, some more material to latch onto, but you can see that there's some tracks that are still around today and that I still go back to and listen, but it was more a step in that softer direction, that radio rock way. And this latest release was just bland. I got to the 4th or 5th listen and I just thought, I don't think I can do this anymore, pun intended, and I just thought I had to stop this now before I get to the end of the album. And I think it's quite interesting when you look at the album artwork from album to album. It does actually kind of tell a story of their progression as a band musically. You look at the first album, it told a story. You had the campfire and the picture, or the blurriness, and it was quite cool. Blush had that pink aesthetic, which was it was nice. It was a bit more basic and a bit more clean, but it had that overall aesthetic which they did bring to the live set as well. And then you look at the latest album cover, and I could have come up with that on Microsoft Paint, and probably could have done a better job, to be honest. It's very pale blue, not very interesting. Big letters of just the album title, and yeah, it's just not very imaginative, and I think that reflects on all the different albums. And the title, I Don't Think I Can Do This Anymore, is very bland, it's very boring, very nondescript, it's very copy and paste. And just as a little side note, we did catch them on the recent headline tour, and it was good. I had a good time listening to the and singing along to the older tracks, and they do bring a nice live environment, but again, the newer songs just passed me by and I didn't really latch on to in the same way that the older tracks did. And yeah, I just think it's a very cut and paste kind of style of writing, which is boring and bland. And I think I can sum up this album and the progression of the band with this final analogy. I think if you took the Mona Lisa and you got it, and it's very beautiful, it's got all the nice details in it, and it looks amazing, and you imagine that as the debut album, I Keep You In Mind. You get a photocopier, you whack it on there, and you get a photocopy of the Mona Lisa. It still looks decent. You can make all resemblances that the original had, but again, it's just not the best quality, and I think that is blush. And then you take that photocopy and you put it through the machine again, and you get a really grainy, distorted picture that doesn't really have any details at all. It's just the very outline and the shadows of the original painting, and it's not even like the original, which is, I'm trying to say that is, I don't think I can do this anymore. It's just a very, very watered down version of the original, and it just doesn't work. And I'm not trying to say I'm angry at this album or I'm disappointed. It's just there's a lack of feeling behind it all. I just don't think that there's anything interesting that really latches onto me. It's listenable and accessible, and it has remnants of the original debut, but again, it just doesn't have that interesting feel, the huge melodies that don't keep me hooked in there. It's very bland, nondescript, and just cliched of themselves. I think about where they could have gone and what they could have done differently, and I think a dark tone would have suited them. They tried to replicate what they tried to do on Shimmer, which was a shoegazy feel on the album as well in certain parts, and it didn't work as well. I think if they went completely the other way, that they could have done a very much darker tone. They could have had some real, some brand new vibes in there, some emo vibes that they could have really expanded on, and had some interesting guitars and interesting lyrics and that sort of thing. But I feel as if they've just become a cliche of themselves. They've not really done anything differently, and it's just become a very bland, tasteless, flavourless bit of chewing gum that's just still in your mouth. You can chew it and it feels all right, but it's just no taste at all. Right, let's get the energy back up. Yeah, it's the end of the video. Yay, it's all good. Right, that's been my review of Moose Blood's I Don't Think I Can Do This Anymore. I don't think I can talk about this album anymore, but I can definitely tell you about our merch. You can check out the links in the description. Also check the social medias. Comment while you're down there. What did you think of the album? Do you completely disagree with me? Just downvote this video if you did. But subscribe, But do subscribe, please. And as always, I've been Jack, and we'll see you in the next one.